All right, let's dive into health and accident insurance. We're using 4healthandaccidentinsurance.pdf for this deep dive. Think of it as our guide to this complex world.
Exactly. We'll uncover those hidden gems. The policies you might not even know exist.
We'll break it down, different types of coverage. And by the end, you'll be navigating the insurance maze with confidence.
That's the goal.
First up, morbidity.
Yeah.
It sounds intimidating, but it's actually the foundation of insurance calculations. It refers to the risk of getting sick or injured, and insurance companies use it to calculate your premiums.
And here's where it gets interesting. The document highlights this. The difference between an illness and an accident.
Yeah, it's not always as straightforward as you'd think, like tripping over your cat and breaking a leg. That's a clear accident. But what about that nagging back pain that slowly gets worse over time?
That's where manifestation comes in.
Right.
For an illness to be covered by insurance, it needs to have become noticeable or diagnosable during the policy period.
So if your back pain started before your policy began, it might not be covered.
Exactly.
Tricky stuff. This brings us to the 5 main types of losses. These are the losses that health insurance typically covers.
The foundation of your coverage.
Right, we're talking medical expenses, disability, dental, accidental injury, and even long-term care.
Each one plays a crucial role, protecting you from financial hardship.
Let's zoom in on disability income insurance for a second. This type of coverage can be a lifesaver if you can't work due to illness or injury. One thing that stood out to me in the document was the elimination period.
Oh yeah, that's like a waiting period before your benefits kick in.
Right, like a buffer.
The longer the elimination period, the lower your premiums. It's all about balance, cost versus peace of mind.
Makes sense, finding that sweet spot. And here's a pleasant surprise. I found this in the document. Benefits from an individual disability policy, those are tax-free.
Oh yeah, definitely something to keep in mind.
So we've got the basics down. Now, how do these pillars translate into different types of coverage? Like choosing the right building blocks for your insurance.
Absolutely. It's like building a house.
We've got individual versus group policies, private versus government plans.
And then there's limited versus comprehensive coverage.
It can feel a bit overwhelming.
A little bit.
Most people know about Medicare, but there are specialized government programs, like TRICARE for military personnel.
That's right.
Just like a whole separate world of insurance.
And even within TRICARE, you have different options like Prime, Extra, and Standard.
It's like choosing from a health insurance menu.
I like that. A menu of options.
Speaking of menus, that's a great way to think about comprehensive versus limited policies. Major medical insurance, that's like the all-you-can-eat buffet.
Broad coverage.
But then you have these specialized policies, like an aviation policy, very targeted, like ordering a single sushi roll.
It all depends on your needs.
Yeah.
And your risk tolerance.
Exactly. And speaking of targeted protection, the document goes into some pretty specific types of policies. Accident only, dread disease, critical illness.
Right, those can sound a bit intimidating.
They do, but they serve a very specific purpose.
For instance, a dread disease policy only covers a specific illness, like cancer.
And a critical illness plan pays a lump sum upon diagnosis of a covered condition.
Exactly.
So it's about understanding the nuances, finding what fits your concerns. Then there's credit disability insurance. This one kind of threw me for a loop. It's where the lender benefits if you become disabled, not you.
Yeah, the idea is to protect the lender if a borrower can't repay.
Interesting. So it's not about protecting your income, but rather ensuring the lender gets paid. Okay, let's move on to something we all deal with. Dental insurance. I have to say, there were some surprises in the document when it comes to this.
It's often overlooked.
Okay.
But dental insurance is crucial.
Right, it's not just about cleanings and fillings. We're going to uncover those hidden details, like pre-authorizations and exclusions.
Those can really make a difference.
Big time.
And we'll explain the difference between scheduled and non-scheduled dental plans.
Stay with us. We're about to break it all down. They have very different ways of calculating your benefits.
Very different.
Think of it like this. A prix-fixe menu versus ordering a la carte.
A great analogy.
We'll be right back.
We're back, diving deeper into dental insurance.
Yeah, it's more than just cleanings and fillings, right?
Absolutely.
Remember those pre-authorizations we talked about with medical insurance? Turns out dental plans have them too.
They sure do.
So before you get that root canal, make sure you're pre-authorized.
It's like a double check to ensure the insurance company covers it.
Makes sense. And don't forget about those pesky exclusions.
Oh, yeah. Dental plans have limitations on what they cover.
Like cosmetic procedures.
Right. Unless it's necessary after an accident.
So that teeth whitening treatment might have to wait.
Maybe.
And there are waiting periods, too,
Right.
for certain procedures or replacements, like a new retainer.
You might have to wait a bit for coverage to kick in.
And get this, the document mentions you can even get dental coverage through your medical expense plan.
Some plans combine medical and dental under a single deductible.
Interesting. Or you can have a standalone dental plan, which is more common.
Right, when dental is an optional benefit.
Now let's break down those scheduled and non-scheduled plans. It's like two different approaches to dental benefits.
Two different philosophies,
Scheduled plans are like a pre-fixed menu,
with set limits for each treatment.
so you know exactly what's covered and how much they'll pay.
Very predictable.
But you might be limited in your choices.
Exactly.
Non-scheduled plans, on the other hand, it's more like ordering a la carte.
They base their payments on what's considered usual, customary, and reasonable.
To the services you get,
Right.
so more flexibility. But the out-of-pocket costs can vary.
Depending on the dentist.
The document helped me understand the different categories under most dental plans,
Oh, yeah.
like a crash course in dental anatomy.
What did you learn?
Most plans cover things like x-rays and cleanings,
The basics.
restorative treatments like fillings and crowns,
Important stuff.
and even oral surgery.
Wow.
Root canals, gum disease treatments, dentures,
Those can get expensive.
they can. The document also mentions pediatric dentistry and orthodontics,
Crucial for families.
especially knowing your coverage for braces.
Those costs can add up.
Let's talk about group dental plans, the ones offered through employers, like the family pack of dental insurance.
They typically offer good coverage.
Yeah, like 100% for routine care, 80% for restorative, 50% for major services.
Sounds pretty good.
But there's a catch, right?
There are waiting periods.
There it is,
They can range from a few months to a year.
depending on the procedure. So if you need that crown right away, you might be out of luck.
You might have to pay out of pocket initially.
Speaking of crowns,
Yeah.
let's use that to illustrate the difference between scheduled and non-scheduled plans.
Okay, good example.
So imagine you need a crown
Ouch.
with a scheduled plan. You know exactly what the insurance will pay because
Right.
it's a fixed benefit for that procedure.
Right.
But with a non-scheduled plan, your out-of-pocket costs depend on what your dentist usually charges for a crown.
So it can vary.
This document really drives home the importance of reviewing your plan documents.
Absolutely.
Understanding the details is key.
It can save you from unpleasant surprises down the line.
When those dental bills arrive,
For sure.
this deep dive has been eye-opening.
Has it?
It's not just about explaining different coverages. It's about giving you the tools to think critically about your own needs.
I like that.
It empowers you to make informed decisions
That's the goal.
about your health and accident insurance.
Absolutely.
So don't just view insurance as an expense.
Think of it as an opportunity.
Have a conversation about your health
Your value.
and your priorities.
Exactly.
Ask questions, do your research, and don't be afraid to seek expert advice.
It's your health, your future.
You deserve the best protection.
You do.
Okay, we're back. Final part of our deep dive. We've explored medical coverage, disability, dental. Now let's take a step back. Look at the bigger picture.
It's like reaching the summit and taking in that view.
Exactly. As I was reading this document, I kept thinking, health and accident insurance. It's a reflection of society's values.
It's true, isn't it?
We often think of insurance as just a financial tool,
Right.
but it's more than that.
Much more.
It reflects our anxiety,
Our priorities.
our understanding of the human body.
And as our understanding changes, so does the insurance landscape.
Like, think about dread disease and critical illness coverage.
Yeah.
Those policies didn't exist a while back.
They reflect our growing awareness of specific health challenges.
Exactly. It makes you wonder, what new types of coverage might we see in the future?
Especially with things like telemedicine becoming more popular.
Right.
It's fascinating to think about.
The world of health and insurance is constantly evolving,
Always changing.
but the core principles, they stay the same.
Understanding your needs.
Oh,
And assessing your risks.
finding coverage that matches your values.
This document really emphasizes informed decision-making.
It's not about blindly accepting any policy. It's about understanding your options.
And advocating for yourself.
Knowledge is power.
That's the truth.
The more you know about health and accident insurance, the better equipped you'll be.
To navigate it all.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, don't just view insurance as a necessary expense.
Right.
Think of it as an opportunity to engage in a deeper conversation.
About your health
Your values.
and your priorities.
Ask questions, do your research. Don't be afraid to seek out expert advice.
It's your health, your future.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. We hope you feel empowered to make informed decisions.
About your health and accident insurance.
Stay curious
Keep learning.
and never underestimate the power of being informed.
Until next time.
Stay healthy and keep exploring.